Hello and welcome to another episode of the Ferris64 podcast with me, your host, Yemmy the Ferret. Ferris64 is, of course, the one-stop shop for video game news, occurrences, first impressions, and so much more. And today we got a nice episode planned for you. I was playing the MaXimum collection, which seems to be nowhere on the internet right now. Then there's also some things in the news and what's coming soon we gotta get to, including an Xbox partner showcase, Epic Games layoffs, and more. Just an FYI to the regular listeners or the new listeners to the podcast, I'll probably be taking about 2 weeks off here coming up as I move and get situated in my new place and also get the internet as well. So don't be surprised if an episode does not come out for a couple of weeks. Maybe I'll try and squeeze one in there, but just a FYI, just in case. All right, let's get started by talking about Marvel MaXimum Collection. This came out this past week, and essentially it's a collection of older Marvel games, mostly pertaining around the X-Men franchise or X-Men adjacent franchises or characters. I mean characters. So it has the X-Men arcade game, Captain America and the Avengers, the arcade game, and all its different versions there. It's got Maximum Carnage, Separation Anxiety, the Silver Surfer, and there's Spider-Man and the X-Men arcade sequel, whatever it's called. And I think the collection, compared to like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles collection, which we also finished this past week, it has a little bit more to offer in terms of background, cheat codes, different options for bonus materials and stuff like that. Like there is a bit more going on with this collection in that case. Now, in the general sense, like, yeah, I mean it has a rewind feature, has save states, it has a CRT filter, like it has all the stuff that I expect to be in a collection like this. But yeah, they have some bonus materials in there. Like they have an entire dev like note sheet where they took down notes on or thoughts on what they should do with each level. Right, like there's cool stuff like that, advertisement art and game box art and stuff like that, which, I mean, not all of it is super interesting, but there is a lot of it that is cool to have, at least. And the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles collection didn't really have that, which I was a little bit disappointed about. And then also the other thing here is, like, you get the cheat codes as well. It tells you what the cheat codes are. You can turn them on and off, which is cool. You know, if you're just trying to play the games and enjoy the games, you know, having infinite lives is a nice thing, or having unlimited health and stuff like that. I don't tend to play the games that way unless they're super annoying. But so far, all of the games we've played from the collection have been not too bad. Like, they've been difficult, but, you know, 2 of them we've played were arcade games where you could just throw in extra coins and never, you know, fail. And then the Maximum Carnage game did have a life system which would have set us back. But, you know, with the rewind feature, it's very much doable, you know. So, yeah, out of the 3 games we played, the X-Men arcade game was pretty good. The Captain America arcade game was actually, like, excellent. I actually really enjoyed that one. It had a good character roster to it. It had a lot of deep cuts for the Marvel villain scene, and I liked the flow of the game really, really a lot. It had a lot of not unique, but it had some level variety in there with some side-scrolling shooters and shooter sections, and yeah, it has some cool stuff going on. For the X-Men game, I mean, it's an X-Men beat-em-up. It kind of feels the same as a lot of the beat-em-ups from that era. It is weird that your special ability takes up your life gauge. So I don't understand why so many beat-em-ups did that. I guess it's to limit the amount of times you can do it, which I get. But then you also have the 2 glowing balls in the top left corner of the screen, and those are your special meter if you do the special. Those are your special counts if you do the special when you have low health. So it doesn't really make sense to have two separate things for your special moves. I tended to only use that when it was a boss fight or whatever. But yeah, I mean, I enjoyed that. I thought it was decent. And then once again, the Captain America game, I found myself really enjoying. I thought it was probably, I mean, so far it's been the best game we played on the collection. Now there are different versions of the game. There's the arcade version, SNES, Mega Drive. I think there's a Game Gear version. And a Game Boy version. So they loaded up all the different versions of the game on here, which is cool. And all of them have their different versions. So the Maximum Carnage game has the SNES and the Mega Drive versions on there as well, which is cool. And the not separation anxiety, Maximum Carnage started off like really good. Like you were kind of like brawling in the streets and climbing up a building. But it slowly turned into a monotonous grind that I wasn't too big of a fan of. A lot of the boss fights are rehashes of bosses you've already fought, or they're regular enemies with like shields on them. You have to break the shield first before you can actually start hitting them. And there came a point later in the playthrough where I was really starting to get super annoyed with the game because you fought the same group of bosses like 3 times in a row practically. So you had like Doppelganger and Shriek and Demo Goblin and Carrion, and you fought like the same group of villains like 3 times in a row, and then they added Carnage onto the end of the final one. And I was like, okay, like why couldn't we just do a Carnage fight? And then at the very end of the game was the Carnage fight, which was very difficult. I was surprised at how difficult the fight was and how long it took. But we ended up getting it done. Once again, with the power of rewind, anything is possible. And I mean, the game was fine. I like the idea here. I like the beat 'em up nature, but it was a bit difficult, and it was just a bit samey throughout the entire game. Like, yeah, you had different backgrounds, but a lot of the enemies and bosses you fought were the same over and over again, which I was not a huge fan of, as you know from other reviews of games that I've played in the past. When you start fighting the same bosses over and over again, it just gets a bit repetitive, and this one definitely felt that way by the end of it. It plays nicely, though. I mean, these collections usually do a good job of making sure the playability is there. The control scheme is pretty easy to get a hang of. And yeah, there's like 3 more games on the collection that I need to play still, and those are the Spider-Man X-Men Arcade arcade sequel, whatever it's called. Then there's also Separation Anxiety, which is the Spider-Man Venom game, and then finally there's the Silver Surfer game, which I don't feel like the Silver Surfer game is like a super long game. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, if you are looking to check out a collection of older games that are I mean, so far they've been good, like at least good. 2 of them have been pretty good to excellent. One of them has been like good, fun little playthrough. Probably won't play it again. And there's obviously more there. And for $25, I mean, you can't go wrong. Like, these collections used to be a lot more money. I mean, I'm looking at the Marvel vs. Capcom collection, which was like $40. And that one had about the same amount of content, I feel like, if you include the different versions of the games. And I mean, this one I feel like is more playable than Marvel vs. Capcom. Like, Marvel vs. Capcom, you need to be a fighting game fan. And then they also have the Punisher beat 'em up in there randomly, which would have probably fit on this game. But yeah, this collection is good. I'm enjoying this. I am enjoying this collection, and I think it's worth checking out if you want to play some older games that got re-released recently. And once again, like, no matter what I feel on the various different collections here, like the TMNT one or the Maximum collection or whatever, it's nice to have these games back in a modern place and being able to play. Like, no matter what you think of Bubsy or Spider-Man and Venom or whatever, like, these collections are nice to have. They keep the games alive. They put them on modern platforms, like the Jurassic Park games that came out in that collection that's being delisted soon. Like, who's gonna really go back and like want to play those games? I mean, there's obviously a lot of people who do, but for the most part, like, they're gonna get lost in time. So it's nice to have them in a playable state in 2026. And you're able to check them out if you want to, right? In collections like this, like the Marvel one and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles one, they'll probably stay around forever. They're probably not going to be delisted. But other ones that are based on properties like Jurassic Park or whatever, those are ones that you probably are going to want to pick up maybe on like the first sale or whatever. Because, I mean, that Jurassic Park game only lasted about a year and a half because of the IP rights. So yeah, pretty crazy there. So yeah, I mean, check out the Maximum collection. It's a good price for what it is, and it's got some fun games on there. So check that out if you so desire. What did I say? Check it out if you so desire. All right, Epic Games has laid off over 1,000 staff members. They're also shutting down a couple of the game modes in Fortnite. And they claim that they are doing this because they are bleeding money faster than they're earning it because of the change in the way that they are acquiring new players. There's not as many new players coming around and blah, blah, blah. Personally, I feel like they have enough of a player base to keep them afloat forever at this point. They are doing a lot of collaborations. Each season has a plethora of characters that they're throwing into the game, and Epic Games does need to pay for the rights to have these characters in the game. Like, there are IP licensing things they need to pay out in order to have them on there. Like, you know, they can't just throw Master Chief into the game because they need to pay the licensing fee for the character to be in the game. And then, of course, if it's a limited time type thing, once the season pass is over, or once the time period is up, you know, the character is going to remain in the game, but you won't be able to earn them again. So they've been doing a lot of these collaborations recently, and I believe it came out that they had to pay The Rock, Dwayne The Rock Johnson, a.k.a. Maui, they had to pay him like $15 million to be in the game, which I thought he was already in the game, but I think he was just like a NPC or whatever. But now they're actually putting him in the game as a playable character against like a villain ice character or whatever. But I believe, and if I'm wrong about this, you know, I apologize, but allegedly he was paid close to $15 million to just be in the game, use his likeness in the game, which is crazy. And if they're shelling out $15 million for Dwayne The Rock Johnson to be in the game, a person who a lot of people right now aren't even that big of a fan of, like especially after all the stuff came out about him arriving late on set and pissing in bottles and stuff like that, and also having like a clause in his contract where he can't lose a fight on screen. Like, I think Dwayne The Rock Johnson's stock is down right now, and they definitely overpaid to have him in the game, if it is true that they paid him close to $15 million. So by laying off 1,000 people in the company, Epic Games is able to have over $500 million in cost-saving, contracting, marketing, and closing some open roles. So essentially what they did is they fired 1,000 people to save about $500 million, it sounds like. And they're shutting down a couple of the game modes in the game, including the Festival Versus mode, the Rocket League mode, and there's one other mode as well that was being shut down. Now, I personally feel like Epic Games could just make some original characters again for their next season and maybe have a special guest appearance character be like the end of the season pass or something like that. And I feel like they'll do fine. People buy the season passes pretty religiously, especially the younger generation who are hooked on the game. You have people who are playing the game every day, live streaming, YouTube videos, et cetera, et cetera. Like, you have a large player base here. And you just made the single-player mode free to play. The Save the World mode is free once again. And I don't know how much money they were making from sales of that, but at the end of the day, they made that mode free now. So it's like, what's the point of laying off all these people? And now you have more content in the game. Like, I don't know. I also wonder if they laid off marketing and stuff like that because they feel like they're gonna. I almost wonder if AI is going to take over some marketing roles here. They're going to replace these people with AI, which is it could be another story in the future that we hear as well. They had a pretty large statement here. A lot of it is just fluff and like trying to say like, woe is us. Oh, we have slower growth and weaker spending, and it's tougher economic costs for us. Like, yeah, I don't really give a shit about that when you're pulling in like $1 billion a year, you know? Like, I mean, I get saving some money here or there, but shutting down modes that people play and laying off 1,000 people in one fell swoop just doesn't feel like the right way to do this. And it almost feels like we're reaching that point of a collapse in the video game industry. I think we're kind of already getting there, where these AAA companies are overspending on what they're doing, what they're making, and they're not getting the money back. Look at WB when they made that Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League game. Look at Sony with Concord. Look at Xbox with Starfield. I feel like these are games that cost them a lot of, or Redfall. Even Redfall is a better example. They're games that cost them millions and millions, hundreds of millions of dollars to make, and they barely make a dent in sales, and they get shut down and whatever. They get forgotten about. So, it's just we're in a time right now where AAA and even AA, like Epic Games and stuff like that, they are overspending a lot of money, and the economy, I don't want to go into an economic discussion here, but shit's going up in price, and the video game industry also raised their prices as well. Like, we got $70 games this generation, and with Nintendo doing their thing, who knows what the next cost of a game will be. And people are spending more money now than they were before with video games. Even the retro market has ballooned as well. And a lot of people, they are maybe moving away from the AAA scene because of the fact that indie games are still very affordable. You look at Hollow Knight, you look at any game that has come out recently, like even that Vampire Crawlers game that's going to be coming out in the next month. These games are $20, $25. The MaXimum collection, $25. Like, there's something to be said about a properly priced game, right? And I think that Soros and what's next from Xbox, we'll find out later. But what Fable remake or whatever, those games being $70 makes more sense to me than like Starfield being $70, or I don't even know if I don't even know. But yeah, the video game bubble is definitely popping right now, or it's reaching a point where it's gonna pop, and I think we're seeing it in real time right now with how many layoffs there's been over the last 3 to 4 years now. Like, originally it was oh, it's COVID, we're saving money, we're doing things remotely, but that time is over now. Like, you can't use that as an excuse anymore. So now companies are just well, we're just not making money anymore, which is lie meter in the red right there. They're not making money. But they are. I do feel like they are overspending. I feel like they are overspending, especially Fortnite. If we're gonna loop back around to the main story here, I feel like Fortnite is overspending, and they're sort of under delivering, I guess, in a way, with The Rock. Right? Who's really hyped to get The Rock? I think people will jokingly get The Rock skin, but it doesn't have the hype behind it like the King of the Hill collab, or Master Chief, or Kratos, or Sabrina Carpenter. Even I don't know. It just doesn't have the same oomph to it. But that none of that even matters now, because that's sometime in the future. Right now, we have 1,000 people laid off, which is horrible, and it shouldn't be happening. And it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense that they're doing this. So there we go. Fortnite, aka Epic Games, doing their thing. And it really wasn't that long ago that they had laid off people beforehand, right? I feel like it really wasn't that long ago that they had another layoff here. It's down. I don't see a link to a past article, but I feel like it really wasn't that long ago. Oh well. Speaking of prices and the video game bubble, Sony announced that the PlayStation 5 lineup and the PlayStation Portal are all going to be increasing in price. And the price increase is not just a little tiny, $30, $50. We're reaching upwards to $100 price increase for a lot of the product line from Sony. So if we're going to break this down here, the original PS5, which was $550, is being priced to $650. The PS5 original digital edition was priced at $500. That's going to $600. The PS5 Pro is about $750. That is moving up to $800. So that's a $50 price increase there, which, I mean, no, wait. That's $900. I apologize. That's Is that $150 price increase there? I didn't realize that. So 750, 900. Yeah, they raised the price of the Pro by 150. Now, this is probably because there's a lot of shortages going on right now because of AI data centers stealing all the memory and stuff like that. I still don't like that they increased the price so much, but I mean, there's a small justification there, I guess, and hopefully that price will go down after this whole shortage is over. And then the PS Portal, this is the smallest price increase here. We had from $200 to $250. That's a $50 price increase there. Arguably, this is still a decent deal for $250, but you got to kind of use the system to... And I don't really use the PS Portal right now. But if you're someone who likes to play while you're on the couch and you don't want to stare at a TV all day, it is something that is maybe worth checking out. But personally, like, I was hoping that this was going to have a price reduction. I mean, I bought it for like $150 when I purchased it because I felt like that was a fair price for the system. It's all cloud based. There's not much happening on the tablet itself. So yeah, price increase here it actually doesn't make sense to me. Even though it's a small price increase, it really doesn't make sense to me for what's in the console itself. Push Square here has a little comparison. So at launch, the PS5 cost $500. The digital edition cost $400. So the price increase is pretty palpable when you think of it that way, from $500 to $650 for just an original PS5 with the disc drive, and then the digital version $400. That is increasing to $600, which is also pretty crazy there. So that's a $200 price increase between both the systems. Yeah, like I said before, it's probably because of the chip shortage right now, the component shortage, and hopefully that'll get sorted out and these prices will go back down. But a lot of people are worried about, like, what's the PS6 going to cost, and what's the next generation of Sony game consoles going to cost. And honestly, it's a scary proposition for it to start out as something like $600 and then just increase from there. But once again, it's hard to predict these things. It's like, will this video game go up in price as it gets older and it stops being in production? You don't know until it actually happens. Same thing with consoles. Is this console going to increase by $100 in the first 2 years of it being out there? With the Switch 2, we kind of saw the writing on the wall. I was like, even back when it was being revealed, I was like, hey, this is probably going to be like a day one pickup for a lot of people because it seems like something that the price is going to increase on rather than decrease. And we haven't really seen any movement with that just yet, but it just feels like it's coming, right? It just feels like it's coming. So, yeah, it's a big price increase this time across the board for all their systems. I was actually debating getting a Pro console because I was like, oh, it's what, $600 or whatever. How much was it? Oh, it was $900. No, it was $750. But at the time, I was like, oh, it's like $600. I might actually invest in that, but I decided not to because, like, my PS5 works fine. Just because I don't have the Pro options doesn't mean that my games are unplayable, right? But now it's like, damn, maybe I should have jumped on that because now the price is increased by $200. So yeah, not crazy about that, but we'll keep our fingers on the pulse, and I'll let you guys know if anything else changes. We're still talking about pricing here. Nintendo has some interesting pricing for the new Yoshi game coming out and the Mysterious Book. So the digital version of the game is seemingly going to be less money than the physical version of the game. It came out that the physical version will be $70 and the digital version will be $60, which makes... Well, what that does, in my mind, validates what I have been saying for quite a while, which is digital games should not cost the same as a physical game, right? You spend $60 on a physical game because you're also paying for the extra cost of manufacturing and shipping and blah, 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 blah. A digital game should never be the same price as a physical game because you're removing a lot of steps there between manufacturer and player. With a digital game like Battlefield 6 or Call of Duty or whatever, you don't have that middleman. You don't have that disc that needs to be manufactured and printed and whatever. You just have a straight download from the Sony servers to your PlayStation. That's it. So this has been something that I've talked about quite a few times, maybe not quite a few, but a few times on the channel where it's like, yeah, I mean, digital games should never have been the same price as a physical game because there's a distinct difference there. Now, whether companies were justifying that by saying, "Oh, we're eating the price in the cost of the game on the digital side of things," we're eating the price of the manufacturing. They're technically both $60, but technically the physical game should be more, right? Well, in this case, that is what's happening. So Nintendo has confirmed, though, that it seems like $70 is going to be the baseline for Switch 2 games going forward. It doesn't seem like we'll be getting more $80 games like Mario Kart World, which is nice. But the other thing too is like it's a Yoshi game. Like if you're gonna do this with any game, make the physical version more money. Why has it got to be a Yoshi game? Like this is a game that I was planning on getting if it was $60, which it is technically $60 digitally, but I kind of want to get every single first-party Nintendo release physically for the Switch 2. That was kind of my goal when it all started happening, right? The Switch 2 was coming out. Now, though, it seems like I'm going to be skipping a couple of games that I don't feel like are worth the price tag. I don't think a Yoshi game is going to be worth a $70 price tag. I mean, sure, it looks cute, has a fun art style to it. I'm sure it's going to have plenty of content for people, but at the end of the day, it's a Yoshi game. We've had plenty of Yoshi games in the past. I feel like the last Yoshi game, Crafted World, wasn't really worth the price of admission. It was more like a $40 game. And then you can say the same thing about like the Yoshi's Yarn game or whatever. Like I just feel like those games, they're for a younger audience and they should cost maybe a little bit less because they don't have as much going on as a regular game like a Mario or a Donkey Kong or whatever. So here we have a game that's having a price increase for a physical version that I feel like the sales are going to be hurt even more because of that. And Nintendo will look at the $70 price tag, and they're not going to say, "Oh, it's a Yoshi game, so the sales were a little bit lower." No, they're going to say, "Oh, people don't want physical games." It's not the price that's the problem. It's not the game IP itself that's the problem. It's a physical game. That's the problem. And that's what I fear Nintendo is going to look at with the sales of this game, because personally, I don't think this game is going to sell super well. It might sell about 1 million or 2 million copies as what normally happens with Nintendo games that are the first party releases. They usually sell about 2 million copies if they're on the lower end of the IP scale. And I feel like the same thing is going to happen here, but maybe even worse. Maybe this won't even sell 1 million copies because of the fact that the physical version is so much more money, and people tend to lean towards physical. But the digital market is taking over here. So it's possible that this might all just even out eventually in the end. I don't know. Either way, I feel like I'm going to wait for Yoshi and the Mysterious Book until a sale. And even then, like a lot of Nintendo sales are just like, oh, $5 off, oh, $10 off. It's like, well, I mean, it might be worth it at that point, but also at the same time, like, I don't know, it's a Yoshi game. Like, am I really willing to spend X amount of money on a Yoshi game? I guess we'll find out. The game is still coming out on the 21st of May, if you want to check it out then. As of right now, though, I would not recommend paying the full price for this game physically. If you really want the game, this is the first time I'm really saying this, $60 price tag for the digital version is not bad. Not bad at all. Okay, moving on from the pricing debates. We had an Xbox partner showcase this week, and it was pretty good. There was some fun reveals there and whatnot. So let's go ahead and go through here and check out what we got. So a lot of these games are going to come to Xbox Game Pass, of course. Some of them aren't, and a lot of them are multi-platform releases. Like the first one, Hunter the Reckoning Death Wish. This is coming summer of 2026. This is it's not a spin-off, but it's just a different version of the Hunter series. If you don't know the older Hunter games, They were multiplayer MMO type, not MMO, but they were like PvPvE kind of games where you hunt down like monsters and people can steal your catches and stuff like that. This is going to be like a first-person story adventure, maybe like even a bit of a detective game. It doesn't look too bad, but yeah, I think it's a bit of a different take for the Hunter series, and maybe longtime fans might be a little bit off-put by that. I don't know, but this is coming next year, 2027. Wuthering Waves is coming to Xbox in July, and it's getting some special Xbox Game Pass benefits, which I don't remember exactly what those are. Exclusive benefits for Xbox Game Pass members. That's all they say. But Wuthering Waves, as opposed to Wuthering Heights, Wuthering Waves is like a third-person action game or whatever. I don't really know what this game is, actually. Even looking at the trailer, like there was a dolphin, and then there was a flying section, and then there was like a boss fight. I don't know what this game is, actually. It's anime. That's all I know. But yeah, this is coming to Xbox Game Pass and Xbox Game Pass on PC as well. You can play it there too. This next one, The Expanse, Osiris Reborn. This is coming in spring of 2027. It's also coming to Game Pass as well. It's also coming to other systems too. I think it's coming to PC and PlayStation. But people are saying that this is your Mass Effect fix. And after watching the trailer, I can certainly say, yes, this does look very Mass Effect coded, not only with the character interactions and dialogue options, but also in the combat itself, which is third person with special abilities and a squad to command. And I don't watch The Expanse. I mean, the only thing I know about The Expanse is from the video games, and there was a Telltale game that came out, and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. I'll buy that, and I never played it. And of course, the show is out there, but I've never watched the show before. But all I really need to know is that it's Mass Effect coded and it's a sci-fi game, and I'm kind of sold on it. But yeah, I'm interested in this one. It's unfortunate that it's taking so long to come out. But it's a cool reveal. I'm excited about this. I'll be following the hype cycle for this one, and yeah, I'll let you guys know if anything else comes up. But yeah, that's coming in spring 2027. Grave Seasons. This is coming August 14th to Game Pass. There is a demo coming soon. This is the game that is kind of like Stardew Valley, where you start a little farm and whatever, you inherit a farm, and you have like a little town to explore. But there's also like spooky stuff happening, horror stuff and whatnot. And that's kind of where the game changes from the Stardew Valley formula to something a bit different. I'm not going to say unique, but different from that. So, there's probably like occult stuff going on, horror elements, etc., etc. Pretty cool visuals there as well towards the end of the trailer. But yeah, this is coming soon, August 14th. Serious Sam Shatterverse. This is coming in 2026. This is a new game in the Serious Sam series, of course. But this one's a bit different. Instead of being a first-person boomer shooter where you're going through levels and shooting up tons of various mutated bionic creatures, the Serious Sam universe is being hunted. Each Serious Sam version is being hunted. So there's different versions of Serious Sam, and they are all being hunted by some sort of entity. And it turns out that this is a co-op roguelite adventure. So you'll be playing as one of the 4 aforementioned Serious Sam guys. You'll be teaming up with, I think, up to 5 players. Okay, 5 players to battle it out in these randomly generated levels. And then, of course, you'll need to get modifiers and different weapons. And, of course, it's all going to be unique every time you play. There's going to be unique things you get. And, yeah, you're going to want to try and save the Serious Sam universe. So that, like I said, it's coming later this year in 2026. Looks kind of interesting. This one is not going to be on Game Pass, but it is a cool reveal for the showcase. Stranger Than Heaven. This is to be determined still, but it is going to come to Game Pass when it does come out. If you don't know what this one is, it's a pretty cool Yakuza-esque kind of game where you play in like 5 different eras of, I think it's Japan, right? Or Hong Kong? I'm not sure. No, Japan. There's a Japanese flag right there. But yeah, essentially it has some pretty brutal fighting combat, and then you go through these different eras, I guess, to grow your empire or whatever. But you see the city transform and grow over time, which is a cool thing there too. Stranger Than Heaven. There is going to be a standalone broadcast featuring a full reveal of the brand new title on May 6th at 4 o'clock Pacific time if you want to check that out. And I probably will check that out. This game is looking pretty cool. I was interested in this game when it was originally revealed at the Game Awards, and now it looks pretty cool. Looks like there's a pretty bustling world to explore, and I'm wondering how the different eras are going to work out. Like, are you going to be able to switch between the eras when you want to, or what? So yeah, looks like it's going to be pretty good. Super Meat Boy is coming to Xbox Game Pass, and they also revealed that the release date is going to be March 31st for this game. If you don't know what this is, it's pretty much going to be a third-person version of Super Meat Boy, as the name implies for the game. I didn't know how difficult this game was actually going to be, being a 3D platform instead of a 2D platform. I feel like in general, 2D platforms are probably going to be more difficult than a 3D platformer because you have the 3D space to contend with in the 3D universe. But it seems like they've added in things to really spice up the gameplay there, traps and whatnot. This is probably going to be a game I'm going to wait on for a sale before picking up, but it is coming to Game Pass if you want to check it out there. It does look pretty good. I liked Super Meat Boy when I played that, but I'm not a huge fan of these so difficult you're gonna scream at your computer type games. Like, I'll play them, and when I get frustrated with them, I just kind of stop playing them. But this one looks decent, so maybe I'll check this one out. Forever Ago. This is releasing on Xbox Game Pass. This one's also coming to Switch, if I recall correctly. But this is a re-announcement trailer, which I don't know why it's been re-announced, but this is coming from Annapurna, and it's coming to Xbox Game Pass as well. And essentially, you're playing as an old man. It's coming in 2026, by the way, fall of 2026. You're playing as an old man who embarks on a journey north in search of redemption. It's a single-player road trip adventure where you'll travel to beautiful places, capture memories with your camera, meet interesting characters, and make some new friends. So it seems like it's going to be a bit of a tearjerker kind of game, like you're playing as an old guy on an adventure. But sometimes these games can be a bit surprising, too. So maybe check that one out. Like I said, it's coming to Game Pass. This is coming in fall of 2026. Ascend to Zero. This is coming to Xbox Game Pass, and it's coming July 13th. This is oh my gosh. This is a hack and slash roguelite set in the year 2225. Right now roguelites are all the rage. And this one does look a little bit unique with the style. It's got a sci-fi setting to it, of course. And there's a bit of a time-bending mechanic as well. You'll steal time from enemies, wield powerful weapons and items, and experience breakneck progression as your build evolves. Seems like an interesting game. I don't know. I'll have to wait and see on that one, but that is coming July 13th. Dispatch is finally coming to Xbox summer of 2026. If you don't know what Dispatch is, it's like a Telltale game with some fun little mechanics mixed in there, where you're dispatching these heroes to the correct event going on in the game. This has already been out on other systems for quite a while, but it is finally coming to Xbox Series X and S in 2026, summer of 2026. So you got to wait a little bit longer for that one. Alien Deathstorm. This is coming in 2027 to Xbox Game Pass. This does not have any relation to the Alien franchise or Aliens franchise. This is a game coming from Rebellion, and it looks like it's a first-person horror game where you are in some sort of off-world colony, and there's lots of storms going on, and there's also aliens to contend with as well. And like I said, they're not aliens from the Alien IP. They're just kind of like new aliens. They're different aliens. It looks like it's going to be pretty cool. I like the visual style. I like the idea of it. Stormy planet, debilitated facilities, stuff like that. And, of course, spooky aliens hunting you down. Gotta love that as well. That's coming in 2027. Frog Squad with a W instead of a U in Squad. This is coming June 2026 to Xbox Game Pass. This is a new friend slop game, which is a new gaming term that is coming up. Friend slop. After all the co-op games that have come out recently that are relatively the same, you go into an area, you collect things, you take them back with you. Friend slop is a new name for the genre. Personally, I don't know if it's like a it's not a wholly positive sounding genre name. But hey, friend slop, it is what it is. But essentially, this is a co-op game where it's a puzzle platformer for up to 8 people. It's a co-op extraction game where you go out into this world and you try and eat things and you try and grow bigger and become a mega frog. And it seems like it's going to be fun, right? Like if this is like a $10 to $15 game, like maybe I'll try it out. It is coming to Game Pass, like I said, but this is coming June 2026, and here we are. They gotta eat it up, eat it up, eat it up. Next up, Bluey's Happy Snaps. This is coming fall of 2026. It's also launching on Game Pass as well. This is also coming to other platforms too, Switch and PlayStation and PC. This is Bluey the dog. And she gets a camera, and it's almost like Toem in a way, where you take pictures in the world, but obviously it's much more dumbed down. It's much more kid-friendly. There's like a coloring book, and there's more basic controls, and it seems like a lot of it is also maybe cinematic as well. But compared to the other Bluey game, I'm almost wondering if this one is going to review better than the last Bluey game. It does look like maybe it's got a bit more going on to it. But if you're a fan of Bluey, or if your children are a fan of Bluey, maybe check this one out. This one's coming soon in fall of 2026. Stalker 2, Cost of Hope. This is a new expansion coming to the game, featuring a new storyline with conflicts between 2 iconic factions, Duty and Freedom. Visit the Chernobyl nuclear plant and the Iron Forest regions, face new dangers, try new weapons, and uncover secrets previously hidden from humanity. Pretty cool that you're going to go to Chernobyl. Love that idea. Never tried Stalker 2 when it came out. Just kind of missed me when the year was going on. But I do like the idea of going to Chernobyl. There's not too many games now that are doing that. But could be kind of cool. So, yeah, keep your eyes open for that. Cost of Hope, Stalker 2 expansion. Musa, Dirty Fate. This one is a third-person action-adventure game where you play in 17th century Korea, which is a bit of a unique setting. We don't really get too many games set in old Korea. But this is a tale of Musa's revenge, responsibility, and ambition in 17th century Korea. It looks like it's going to be probably a Souls-like-ish game. I mean, action-adventure probably sums it up the best here, but it could have some Souls-like elements as you fight through enemies and whatnot. But yeah, that's coming sometime in 2027. Looks kind of interesting. All right, The Eternal Life of Goldman, once again appearing at the game showcases. This is a game that's been, I feel like it's been a couple years since they showed this one off originally. And it's just kind of been showing up almost in every single game showcase. This is coming in 2026 still. It is coming to Xbox Game Pass, and there is a demo available right now. Now, the game looks good. I mean, it has a fun art style. You're playing as this like old man who has like the Cranky Kong abilities from Tropical Freeze, right? Like, I think that it's going to be a good 2D platformer. It's got a unique style to it. It looks like it has fun character interactions and some good platforming challenges. But the problem is that it's just taking way too long to come out. They revealed it way too early in the game's life cycle, or before they had to maybe go back and fix some things, bugs maybe. But I'm excited for this game to come out. I've been excited for this game to come out, but it's just taking a bit too long, and it just kind of goes into the idea of like, okay, these studios are just revealing games a bit too early. Like if they're more than 2 years out, I feel like it's too early to reveal your game, right? But a year, maybe a year and a half out, that's not too bad. But this game was shown off, I feel like, in 2021. Yeah, maybe 2023 or whatever. But yeah, it just feels like it's been taking forever to come out. But the Eternal Life of Goldman, there is a demo available right now. Vaunted. This is coming in 2026 to Xbox Game Pass. This is a third-person co-op game where you play as 3 cutthroat. Maybe it's not a co-op game. I'm sorry. It's a tactical RPG set in a sci-fi world. You play as 3 cutthroat criminals who look past their differences to pull off the big heist. Being a tactical RPG, Looks kind of cool. It seems to be very much inspired by the Mario and Rabbids games, because it's not like an XCOM or whatever. You have like full control over the characters when their turn is going on, right? So you can kind of move them where you want and do what you need to do there. But then the enemies also have the same ability too. But it's turn-based, so it seems pretty cool though. I like the design of the characters. This could be a pretty cool idea for the tactical RPG genre, kind of taking what Mario and Rabbids set up and maybe expanding on it. So yeah, I'll definitely be checking this one out in 2026. Like I said, it's coming to Game Pass. All right, Hades 2 is coming to Xbox Game Pass, and it's coming to PS4 as well. But this is coming April 14th to both those systems. This has been a bit of a long time coming here. I feel like it probably could have released last year, but I think they had like an exclusivity deal for the Switch 2, the console release. Yeah, I mean, if you haven't played Hades 2 yet, it's great. The 1.0 version has really good reviews. I only played this in the early access mode, so I didn't get the full experience when I played it. I am planning on playing it eventually because it was very fun, very good what it was. Yeah, it's a roguelite. It's got some really cool character designs in there. It's got some cool boss fights. And in general, it's more of what you love from Hades. So, check that out if you so desire. And then finally for the showcase, we have a game coming in 2027 called Artificial Detective. This one seems like there's some sort of virus that's taking over robots, and they are being turned evil. Ooh, kind of like Lies of P situation, right? But you play as this aforementioned artificial detective, and it's a third-person shooter action game where you use the environment and a gun to take out the various robots. And I'm sure there's also going to be some detective stuff in there too. And it seems like you have a bit of a companion too, a little robot dog companion, which is pretty cool. But this one looks good. I'm actually pretty excited to see more of this game. Obviously, we have to wait a little while because it's coming in 2027. But it looks like it's going to be a really cool concept, really cool idea, and I'm excited to learn more about that in the future. So yeah, in general, it was a good showcase here. Partner preview. Liked a lot of the stuff I saw. And if you want to check that out, it's all, of course, on Xbox's YouTube channel. Or if you want to check out the individual games, there's also individual trailers on Xbox's YouTube channel as well. Also, Minecraft Dungeons is getting a sequel. This is a game that I didn't think would have a sequel, but it is getting a sequel. So the new trailer came out, and it looks like more of the same. I mean, I never really got into Minecraft Dungeons, of course. I played a demo at PAX a while ago. It's essentially like a Lemmings type game. You build up your forces and they follow you around and you attack into the enemy bases or whatever. I don't know if they're going to change that up with this game, but we'll see what happens. The trailer didn't really show too much, but in a press release, they said, "A hero's work is never done. Disorder is brewing, and the world stands before a threat unlike any other. A new danger is growing in power, ready to descend upon the land and unleash mayhem. Return to the world of Minecraft Dungeons in an all-new RPG adventure, brimming with high stakes encounters, thrilling challenges, and never-before-seen locations as you set out to save a world in crisis. Will you and your allies prevail against the forces of evil and save the day once more?" This is coming in 2026. I wonder if Jack Black is going to be in it. But it's coming to Xbox, Switch 1 and 2, PS5, and Steam if you want to check that out. I'm sure eventually it'll come to Game Pass. I believe the original game was on Game Pass, so I feel like the sequel should definitely come to the Game Pass, especially because Xbox owns the Minecraft IP. But there you go. All right, we have some new characters coming to Sonic Racing CrossWorlds. 3 of them are free DLC characters that are going to be coming in the next few months here. So we have Red from Angry Birds, Goro Majima from Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii, and Arlie from Puyo Puyo. Red and Goro are going to be coming in April, and Arlie will be coming in May 2026. Also, along with the new characters, will have their own vehicles, of course, but then they also have some new songs for the soundtrack, including Magical Sound Shower, Let's Go Away, Soul on Desert, Like the Wind, B-Course arcade version, Outside a Crisis, Main Theme Enduro Racer, God Only Knows, and Like the Wind Reborn. So all that stuff is going to be coming for free to the game in the coming months. And there's going to be one expansion pack coming out. I believe this is also coming out next month, right? Featuring Mega Man. This is going to be for $6. And it's going to add Mega Man and Proto Man as playable characters. The new Rush Roadstar vehicle. Mega Man Wily Castle course. A new Mega Man-inspired soundtracks, including Wily's Castle, Mega Man character select screen, Mega Man results screen, and 6 different emotes per character, which is pretty cool. So the Mega Man DLC is following the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Avatar Legends DLC that's going to be coming out. So yeah, I mean, this is a pretty cool. I mean, obviously, it's you kind of figure that the Mega Man's going to come eventually because it's a Sega game, right? Sega always puts their mainstays into their games. Yeah, Mega Man's going to be coming out eventually down the road. Let me get a confirmed release date. Oh, it's available right now. Really? Maybe it's available right now if you have the deluxe edition, the season pass. Available with season pass and digital deluxe editions. Additional purchases are necessary. Okay, so I mean it's out now. Okay, was this a shadow drop? I guess coming soon is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Avatar. So they released the Mega. Maybe we knew about the Mega Man one. Maybe I'm forgetting about that. Maybe we knew about Mega Man coming, but we didn't know the details. But anyway, now Mega Man is out. There's new Sonic Prime character pack as well that's available, and then also Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Avatar is coming to the game in the future. And we'll probably get more information on those two later, and I'll forget that they were already revealed, and I'll have the same song and dance. All right, a couple games are being delisted the next coming months here. First up is Battlefield Hardline is being completely delisted from multiple storefronts in May. They are shutting down the multiplayer aspect of the game. There is still a single-player mode in the game, so I don't know why they're taking the entire game down from the store. And they're not going to release like a different version of the game, like Battlefield Hardline single player mode or whatever. So this is a weird one in all honesty, like because the story mode, I mean, it's not like the most amazing story mode ever, but it had its moments. I thought it was kind of cool. But yeah, this is being delisted on May 22nd. Its servers are going to be taken down a month later. So in a statement on Twitter, they said on Friday, May 22nd, Battlefield Hardline on Xbox One and PS4 will be removed from digital storefronts, and you will no longer be able to purchase it and all extra related content such as DLC. Online services on these platforms will end on Monday, June 22nd, while Hardline will no longer be support online functionality. Players who own the game will still be able to play the single player component. Yeah, so it's just weird that they're completely delisting the game when there's still a single player mode that you can actually play. Yeah, I mean, when this game came out, I thought it was a nice, small package version of Battlefield. I enjoyed my time with it. Obviously, it ran its course, and we moved on to the next big thing, which was, I think at the time, was Battlefield 1. But I had my time. I had fun time with it. I almost got the platinum trophy for it, but by the time that I was close to getting that done, the player base had dropped off. So I was like, oh, I'm never gonna be able to get these multiplayer things done. So I just kind of gave up. But you still have a month to play it if you're looking to try it out. Yeah, there you go. All right. Also, 12 more games are being delisted the coming months here. We have one that's already delisted called Firewall Ultra on the PSVR 2, and the online servers are going to be shut down on September 17th. The Finals is being taken down from online services for the PS4 and Xbox One on March 18th. So that's already done. On March 31st, WBSC eBaseball Power Pros will be delisted from the store, and online services will be disabled on the same day. WWE 2K24 on the PS5, PS4, and probably the Xbox One and Series S and X. On March 31st, all online services will be disabled for that. Zombie Army VR is having its online services disabled on March 31st. Jurassic Park Classic Games Collection, as I talked about before, that's being delisted on April 1st across all storefronts. Tower of Fantasy on the PS4 and Xbox One is being delisted on April 7th, and the online servers are being disabled on October 20th. Genshin Impact, the Xbox One and PS4 version, is being taken down, and online services are being disabled on April 8th. King of Meat across all platforms being delisted, and online services are being disabled April 9th. It's already delisted now, but the services are being disabled April 9th. Grand Blue Fantasy Versus is having its online servers disabled on the PS4 and Xbox One April 20th. Vampire the Masquerade Blood Hunt online services are being disabled April 28th on PS5 and Xbox consoles. And then finally, Dragon Age Inquisition is having its online services disabled on April 28th on the PS3 and Xbox 360, which is pretty old, but they stayed around. I mean, Dragon Age Inquisition, that was a game of the year. That was game of the year that came out, remember? One of the most forgotten game of the year winners of all time, but it was still online, which is pretty impressive. But some of these we knew was going to happen, but things like Zombie Army having its online service disabled, I mean, that game came out pretty recently. I mean, I feel like that was less than a year ago. But, the player base for PSVR 2 was just not there, right? Which is the same thing can be said for Firewall Ultra on the PSVR 2. That was a launch title with the PSVR 2. Like, the PSVR 2 did not sell very well. It was overpriced. And, yeah, it's just one of those things where it's like, it's a VR headset. There's just so many better VR headsets out there that don't require a cable, that don't have the same issues that the PSVR 2 has, and they're just more playable. But I still enjoyed my time with the PSVR 2. Just right now, I haven't played it in like a year and a half now because there's been nothing coming to the console. I mean, it's like PlayStation literally gave one game, the Horizon game, a tech demo to the system, and then they said, okay, it'll be supported by third-party stuff. Like, third-party stuff is usually fine, but where is like a first-party PSVR 2 game? That could be a system seller, but no, they gave up on it pretty early. So, as you can tell, I'm still pretty salty about that. Anyway, thank you so much for listening to this episode of the podcast. Very much do appreciate that. I will be back. Don't worry, I will be back, but there may be a bit of a break here while I get things situated. But I appreciate everyone for sticking around and continuing to listen to the podcast during this time in my life. We are still streaming right now, but once again, there will probably be a bit of a break for the streaming. Right now, it's been a bit random, so make sure you join the Discord to either A, know my schedule, or B, have a discussion in the community. We appreciate anyone who joins, who aren't bots, of course. Also, I do another podcast called Film Freaks with a Z at the end. We talk about movies. The most recent episode was about Hard Boiled from 1992. The next episode is going to be about War of the Worlds from 2025. If you want to check that out. All right, folks. Have a great rest of your day. I am Yemmy the Ferret, and this has been another episode of Ferret 64. Appreciate you. Goodbye. The Ferret 64 podcast is owned and edited by Yemmy the Ferret. Sound clips included during the podcast were made by Yemmy the Ferret. The Ferret 64 logo was made by Player2P2. The intro and outro music was made by Gail Laliot on Fiverr. News sources include PushSquare.com, NintendoLife.com, and PureXbox.com. All opinions are my own. Thank you for listening.